Hi everybody, we're back with another installment of our podcast. Today we have our guest, Kevin Montes.
All the way from New York, Jersey.
That's right. You're in New York now, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
But Kevin and I, we're New Jersey people, at heart.
It's a Jersey thing.
It is a Jersey thing. And today we're talking about the Evil Dead remake. And it's going to be an interesting one since all three of us seem to have different opinions.
Because Alex actually sent us a short little mini review that I'm going to read later on. And Kevin, since you're our guest, why don't you go first? Were you looking forward to this movie, first of all?
Well, honestly, since I've been hearing about the remake, I was really iffy, how it would play out, because I really loved the original, trilogy. And then,
You cutting out there, Kevin?
Shit.
Hold on a second. We lost Kevin.
How do I recall?
Just hold on, end it, and then try calling him again. Technical difficulties.
Hello?
You back?
Yeah, back.
Okay. Don't click close.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yes. Yeah, so as I was saying, I walked into the theater that night, and I came out actually very pleased because I went with moderate expectations, so I had nothing to judge, really. Well, some things. But I guess, I don't know, the film had some stuff that worked. I felt like as a whole, it had me, but there was some minor nitpicks I could point out that really pissed me off. The references they're trying to make to the original film was the whole chainsaw that they kept on showing in the shed. But they went nowhere with it, and that was the only thing.
They totally went somewhere with it. The whole last kill is with the chainsaw.
And it's hey fans, this is for you.
But it's...
So she's basically stuck in that thing, that chainsaw, in Killer Joe. That's what I thought when I was watching. This is more cool than Killer Joe.
It's true.
But no, I don't know, that last kill was awesome, and I just loved how that movie was ending, because it was so unexpected, but also what I really loved was how they played each character out to be who is going to be Ash. We didn't know. At first, I actually thought David was actually going to be Ash.
Yeah, I did like that of it too.
Yeah. Just played out
I was excited for the remake because Evil Dead 2 for me is the Evil Dead movie, but and the first one is great too, but the first one ain't as perfect, let's just say, as the second
Mostly
one.
for budgetary reasons, though.
Yeah, but obviously it is a B movie, and some of that B moviness is a little bit much sometimes. So I thought there was. It wasn't something as hallowed as something like the second one or Halloween or I don't know, Psycho or something like that, to me at least.
So what'd you think? Were you excited? You said you were excited.
Well, I was fucking excited as hell once those trailers came out, because those are some of the best horror movie trailers I've ever seen. Those trailers just got me pumped up so much. It's I saw, especially with the first teaser, because I saw the first teaser, I was okay, gotta tread lightly with this. And by the end, it was only 90 seconds, and it was by the end of it, I was I gotta watch that again. It was that was awesome. And then I watched it again, and I was holy crap, this looks good. It's but yeah.
Kevin, what'd you think of the marketing aspect of the movie?
The marketing, I've been hearing a lot, I've been seeing, the trailers were obviously really great, but when I kept on hearing that it was all prosthetics, they weren't really going to be using the CGI crap that's seen in all these films, just great jump scares, I was just
yeah,
this is perfect.
That was something.
It was going back to the roots, and I was just thank you, Lord.
Well, also, I thought it was funny, people were jumping on the movie when the poster says the most terrifying film you've ever seen. When you look at the poster for the original and it says the ultimate experience in grueling terror. So it's the original did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But,
yeah, I remember my school was actually heavily promoting that film, through each floor, going to class. It's just there was always a poster in front of me about the Evil Dead.
I was a little cautious about it beforehand because, come on, just Cabin in the Woods had just come out and like blown the whole Cabin in the Woods concept open. So like, don't say anything.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
But it's like to have a movie come out to like just be so open about just dissecting the tropes and stuff like that, and then only like a year later have a movie that's like played straight in that same concept. I was a little skeptical on whether it could work.
I'm much like both of you. I was very skeptical when this. I knew it was only a matter of time that this was going to get remade. But the beauty of this was I felt like this movie was primed for a reboot solely because the budget does hold it back, the first one. Yeah. But then again, Evil Dead 2 is one of my 10 favorite movies of all time, and I quote Army of Darkness on an almost daily basis. So then, I saw all the trailers. I really liked the Red Band trailer, but I tried to make sure I didn't get too invested in it because I did the same thing with Prometheus. And I was very let down, and so I went in still with good expectations. Like Augie and I saw it together with Alex.
With Alex, yeah.
Yeah, we all sat down. There was this great atmosphere in the theater. Although that trailer for The Conjuring, the James Wan film, came on, and I started banging my head against the front seat.
And our theater could have used a few more black guys in it.
Come on.
Oh, come on! No, we needed some of those like.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I felt like there was some of that missing in our theater.
But so the movie started, and as far as the opening goes, I liked it. How it didn't try to do like a Friday the 13th remake where it tried to basically just recap.
Yeah.
And I don't think there were any opening credits.
No, I don't believe so either. It pretty much throws you into that prologue, right away, and then it has, boom, Evil Dead, and then it goes right into the movie. After that.
Then the film started, and I was going with it. I was interested because the characters, I couldn't, like you guys said, the brother and sister, I couldn't tell who was going to be the quote-unquote Ash of this film. And they threw in that drug angle, which I liked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I got to agree with Kevin, though. The references that they threw in, a lot of them really did bother me. He mentioned the chainsaw, but I got to say the one that really got to me, that kind of drove me crazy, was the car going into the water.
Yeah. Why is the car going into the water reference?
Because remember in the opening of the first Evil Dead, they see there's the car that's in the water.
Didn't remember that.
Okay.
No.
Well, that's there. The chainsaw threw me off because they kept showing it. They showed the shotgun multiple times.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, oh, come on, you got to be kidding me.
Don't worry, we'll get it back.
So yeah, that stuff bothered me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there was that one time when the chainsaw, it's like she's like in the shed, and then like all of a sudden it does like a pan up like the chainsaw right there. It's like, all right, seriously. Like,
get off it.
Yeah, it's like just go with it already.
You saw me. He was sitting next to me in the theater. Every time something would happen that was, I thought, too similar.
Yeah. Keep going.
That I thought there was stuff that was too similar. I'd go, you got to be freaking kidding me. It wasn't like the Thing remake though, where I was like legitimately pissed off. I was just frustrated.
Yeah. Okay. It's like
I was just frustrated by that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
He was just talking about the references pissing him off.
Let's go into the what people really were excited for was the blood, violence.
That did not disappoint at all on any level.
Nope.
Every time they went for the throat, sometimes literally, it really like hit hard. I mean that fucking part with the tongue just it's hard to watch that part with it. And then
was that your favorite use of blood or death scene in the movie?
I don't know. That last one is pretty awesome too. The one with the tongue is the most painful for me.
I thought the one where she. Spoiler alert. Tune out now if you don't want to listen. Spoiler: she cuts off her arm.
That's in the trailer.
No, but they actually show like the tendons getting caught. And,
yeah.
Like Danny Boyle watched that and goes, "Shit, even I wouldn't do that."
Yeah. I don't. Thoughts on the blood, Kevin? I know you're there. He's probably just adjusting.
Thoughts on
Yeah.
the blood?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
blood.
I loved it. Like, my friend did the whole, like, violence and gore, were really over, like, actual jump scares. So, it
I
always
think you
had,
should put them on speakerphone on your phone.
Yeah.
like,
Do you have speakerphone?
I don't have my charger cord though.
I could not keep my eyes off the screen.
Yeah. You're cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, you keep cutting in and out.
Is it possible to find like another spot with a better connection?
Yeah, no, let me go back to my room. Hold up.
Okay.
All right, just call us when you get to a better spot.
I would do that, but I don't have the charger cord.
Okay.
I'm assuming my phone's gonna run out. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what were some other. Yeah, there's the. Oh,
I think we should focus solely on the positives for now before we get to the negatives.
Yeah, of course. There's the the vomit part.
Tree rape.
Okay, there's some people that are saying that the tree rape like probably shouldn't have been in this movie, but I don't know. I thought
it was worked in well.
Yeah, here it did. Yeah, I thought the
Alright, I'm back.
Okay, we were just talking about more of the positives, and I was talking about how some people didn't like the how the tree rape was in this one, but I thought they worked it in pretty well, especially because in the first movie, even though the first movie is trying to be a serious horror movie, it still has
It gets a little campy because you see the vines go up,
yeah,
and they don't show the penetration,
yeah,
but they cut to her face.
but like in the original, the tree rape, it felt a little too exploitative in like what's like trying to be a fun horror movie, but in this one I thought it fit in really well, and I like the idea of how it wasn't just hey, the trees are just horny and it wants to stick its branch up her. It has like this branch living thing that it's like
Comes out of her mouth.
it's like a hentai. It's like Evil Dead hentai.
That was like right out of like anime.
It was. And it was like slithering up, and it was like, ugh. I kind of, we were talking about how like the prologue they didn't really address it much, but I kind of think
I like it.
I kind of like that they like leave it a little bit open. I mean, you can assume that the girl that they tried burning in the beginning might be the girl that is the girl that like infects her at first.
Yeah, and that shows up at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that would make the most logical sense. I mean, they don't specifically say it, but they do enough inferring to where I think
Yeah.
that.
I also said it would have been awesome if all those like Hills Have Eyes rejects in the prologue came back in the end as like and Mia has to fight like
She has
Mia
to fight Billy Drago.
like me like Mia and David have to fight like the just dead-eyed army of all like those people. Seriously, there's that one woman that has like the bug eyes and like the really like thin mouth, it's like she walked off the set of Hills Have Eyes.
Or Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah. I thought I mean, obviously Ash is Ash. We can't replace Ash, but I thought overall, when you take into account the other characters in the original, I thought, with the exception of the pointless blonde, I thought the characters had like there was a better foundation for them, at least with the exception of the blonde, because I mean, obviously there's the brother sister, but then there's also the fact that the nerdy type kind of has some animosity towards David a little bit, and the medical girl, I forget her name. Olivia, she gets a little more screen time. Although, speaking of Olivia, I just thought of something. and I didn't think of it until after the movie was done. But once again, we have a horror movie where the black character is the first to go. Like, why?
I wish you said that in the theater.
I thought we were done with this already.
If you think about it, it was her and then the black dog. So basically, they just got rid of all.
Like, everything that's black, we're gonna get rid of.
Oh, they could have. They didn't need the dog there. It's like, really? Like,
It's like, all right.
That's too easy of a trope to throw in there, pretty much. It's like, the moment I saw that dog, I was like, it did.
I also have to say, I thought the acting was pretty good.
Well,
mostly from the main chick.
Okay, I thought the acting from the main actress, Jane Levy, the nerdy kid, I thought the nerdy kid...
The one that looks like Carlisle from School.com.
That's right. I think it's Lou Taylor Pucci. I thought he was good. And I know, that's his name. And I thought the actress who plays Olivia was also good. I didn't like the actor who played David, though. He seemed,
the one that was in Red Riding Hood?
Yeah, he seemed a little too wooden, though. Like, he just... I forget who it was. I read a review and it said he was pretty much like Grumpy Cat of acting, pretty much. like he had that frown on his face the whole, like, he was like Kyle Gallner in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
He looks like he's about to cry every...
Yeah, he's had that perpetual like frown on his face the whole time, or like look of disgust. But yeah, I thought the other three were fine.
So Kevin, any other positives?
Honestly, okay, with Mia, I was surprised considering my friend dragged me to see Fun Size and she was in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, I wanted to hang myself afterwards, but not literally. But like, I don't know, I was just like, it's her. But then I came out liking her out of all of it. Like it being Eric. I really dug Eric.
He had a couple like weird moments. Like there's a part where like, I don't know, some horrible thing happens and like they finally beat the Deadite down and he just starts like laughing for no reason. I was like, wait, why are you laughing?
He turned into Nicolas Cage for a good 5 seconds.
I know. Actually, one other thing I liked I don't know if maybe they could have put, to be a little more creative, they could have pushed the drug angle a little more, but I liked how they had it so David and Eric had to work together to like help her at first, but then once they like revive her, it's like she has to confront the demons herself. And I know they're kind of going forward with the drug angle. I didn't think they
went far enough.
I didn't think they went far enough with it, but I admired the effort to try something a little more than just monsters.
So that worked for me.
What worked for you?
Like the drug angle defined more Mia's character too, and it was also like a reason for the whole cabin for them being in the cabin to actually plug it into film.
And also why they can't leave.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna turn to Grumpy Cat now.
Are you ready?
I think out of the three of us, I liked it the least. Call me a fanboy, whatever you will, but I felt this...
Actually, can we just start with the unquestionably the worst thing about it?
Go ahead.
The post-credits scene.
Oh my god, that was... I was like angry.
I was like, that is the biggest fan wank if I had ever seen one.
I was like mad. Like everyone in the theater was like,
what? I know. Like, because there was like a rumor that like that something was gonna happen, but it was gonna be an actual scene, and then it turns out to be just
him. They close up in on him and he goes groovy,
and then it ends. I was like, what?
You know what they should have done? They should have had her like walking through the woods. He's like the park ranger.
That's what the rumored scene was.
Or she's like hitchhiking.
Yeah, the rumored scene was she's walking along the highway or the road, and then he comes along at one point.
That's like Kurt Russell showing up at the end of the Thing prequel.
But that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
I'm gonna say my big issues with the movie. First, I'm gonna let Augie touch on his big criticism because I agree with him on that. But I'm gonna touch on mine. I know horror movie characters aren't the most intelligent people on the planet. But when Eric picks up that book, the book specifically tells him a good 20 times, do not open this fucking book. You will die if you open this book. And what happens? He reads it out loud. I mean,
but you know young adults and teenagers just.
I know, but he's a high school teacher. It's not like he's the typical stoner, which is what he looks like. If they had the dumb blonde read it, then I would have been okay with that.
Well, see, it's like I was going to horror movies just like I have this like narrow viewpoint with horror movies that I assume no other horror movies exist in the world of this one. So like the characters have no idea, unless it's something like Scream or
Cabin in the Woods.
Or Cabin in the Woods. It's like I always assume it's just like this is some alternate world where horror movies don't exist at all. So that didn't bother me so much.
I mean, that was the point where my rating started to slip, and then actually, why don't the three of us touch on what I think we can all say is the big issue, the rhythm.
Oh.
There's no momentum.
Explain.
I feel like so like I thought like I felt the movie was about to hit the fan was when Mia comes out with the shotgun, and then there's the whole she shoots her brother
On the shoulder.
Yeah, in the shoulder, which also in the original, and then there's a and then there's the whole thing.
Had to bring that up.
And then it is, and then there's the whole thing where you see in the trailer she says like you're all gonna die tonight, and I thought like oh okay like it's going to start up, and like I felt like there would be like scenes of like something crazy happening, but then like all of a sudden it would like stop, and it like
It just turned into much like the Nightmare on Elm Street. This is nowhere near as bad as that.
No.
But I felt like it was watching the same thing happen where a character gets cut off, door slams shut,
yeah,
and then they get killed in some horrible way. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, I freaking hate horror movies nowadays that rely solely on jump scares to get their scares, and this movie is chock full of them.
I mean, it's because they know that they're the only audience they feel like they're trying to attract is dumb 14-year-olds who just sneak in, and they easily get scared by those fucking jump scares. So,
I mean, I'm desensitized to them, but come up with something clever.
Yeah,
which is what is great about the original first two Evil Dead films is that they were good with what they had. They knew what they had. And they were able to work around their limitations. And it wasn't solely jump scares, they built up to it. Which, this one starts off building up pretty well, but then it turns into a cycle.
Mm-hmm. It was like, I feel like a lot of the, like all those like cool moments you saw in the trailer, the arm, the vomit,
there was one that wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah, wait, which one was
They're gonna get
that's like, but that scene is in the movie though, and then there's the part with the cut in the face off. Like it's like those are like neat scenes in the movie, but like they felt like they didn't feel like they had as much of a
cohesiveness.
There wasn't. If the movie had more suspense and tension, it would have been much better. In fact, and I went into it and I remember some parts of the original, but I hadn't seen it in a long time, so I wasn't comparing it except for the obvious moments. But when I watched the original one right afterwards, I realized wow, once the first person gets possessed, the movie does not stop moving, and it just from the middle to the end, it's just nonstop tension and insanity, pretty much.
What'd you think, Kevin, of the rhythm?
With the rhythm, okay, there was those points where the people being possessed, you get that feeling that, alright, something's about to happen, but then it doesn't happen, and you're just that dull moment, and then, bam, something occurs, and I'm just you have some slight build-up for me, but then you go nowhere with it.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
I had that feeling too, pretty much. I remember the first point I started noticing it was actually right in the scene when she gets possessed, and there's the bit with the Olivia goes to grab a knife or whatever, but it's I felt like there should have been, I don't know, some kind of frenzied like urgency in that scene that like it wasn't there. It's like she gets possessed and then like the scene didn't have some kind of like
oomph to it.
Yeah, exactly. Until the part.
I mean, when this movie's disgusting, it's gross, but it's not a bad. I don't think it's a bad way. Like, I think the best thing about this movie is the gore itself.
The only part I thought was just a little. The only part I thought was too sadistic was the part where her hand gets stuck under the car at the end, and he like lingers on that as
and she keeps trying to pull it out, and you see like skin start to come off, and
it's like, all right, that's a bit just too much. That's like cruel right there. But there's that close up of the needle coming out. I was like, nah. Like,
no, but one thing I really disliked though was that whole scene where Natalie is like possessed and she starts attacking them with the nail gun.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean that nail gun that's in every horror movie that works exactly the same, where you don't have to press it up against the hard surface and you can just shoot it like a machine gun.
Yeah.
No, it's like she got one of her limbs chopped off before she had the full possession, and then like David blows off her other arm, lays on him. It's like she's dead.
Cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, you're cutting out.
I just didn't like that though, because like at first Evil Dead, they were talking about like the whole you have to dismember the whole body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I found the Evil Dead, like you have to dismember every part of the body for them to completely be dead. And this when she got both arms just like chopped off and she was like dead in an instant.
Speaking of they should have been dead. I was really there. What took me out of the movie is the fact that Eric was like Superman in this movie.
Okay, Bruce Campbell couldn't take the punishment that Eric went through in this movie.
Like
much.
I don't know how many. First of all, I'm pretty sure he got shot.
Well, he gets shot. He gets the needle like in the eye.
He gets beaten. He lands on the toilet.
Yeah, he gets shot with a nail gun multiple times. There's that one part where she the crowbar like right on his
beats
hand.
him repeatedly.
Okay, there's actually seemed to be a continuity error. She beats his one hand, and it looked like his hand gets like all broken and twisted. But then like 20 minutes later, his hand was perfectly fine. Yeah,
and then he shows up during that fight in the basement. I mean, great, he dies afterwards, but you know, he should have been dead long before that. I mean, Bruce Campbell in the first movie, he's a wimp.
Yeah,
and when he gets beaten up, he doesn't get back up.
Yeah.
Except in the second movie.
Well,
this one, like, you can say Eric. Yeah, but like how Eric was seen, like, as this superhero title, like, hurt and all this, like, ball busting shit on him, like, it made me assume that he could have been, like, more likely to be Ash in the sequels. Because, like, in particular, like, him as being, like, basically the main character at first. I mean, like, yeah, his back getting hit by a toilet needle in the eye, crumbled to the head, shot, like, 100 times with a nail gun. I was just...
Actually,
this guy definitely has to cut. I'm just blacker.
One part I thought could have been cool. They could have done with the possessed hand bit is, of course, in the second movie. You know, the possessed hand is beating Bruce Campbell up with like is punching him. He's taking the plates and on his head. I thought what they could have done with like kind of like a really sinister twist is do a similar thing, but like with sharp objects. To like just make it like a really just like intense.
She should have stapled nails like this through her hand and like kept going like this.
Well, no, like if the hand like for instance like grabs like a knife or something and she has to like fight like her hand as it's like trying to like stab her and stuff like that. That could have been interesting. That was the only part that looked CG.
Yeah.
With like no, actually two parts. The part with her arm, the tendon, and then there's the part when she stands up like later, and she's like it's after she's shot the nail gun, and there's like a far shot of her arm like bleeding out, and like the blood. That was the only part where the blood looked CG, but I mean, apart from that, all the blood looked fine for me pretty much.
last minute thoughts? Then we'll go into ratings.
I liked it.
What would you rate it?
I'd give it a 2.5 out of 4. I think because 2.5 out of 4 is for movies that I like, but have a lot of flaws, and I think all the ingredients are there. It has like, obviously once again with the exception of the blonde character, I have to keep reiterating that. I think it has great character setups. I think it has some novel ideas in the beginning, and the director, Fede Alvarez, clearly has an affinity for staging creative gore scenes.
And he has a style to it.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. That's one thing I liked. Even though there was clearly scenes copied from the first movie, I felt like this was Alvarez's Evil Dead. This didn't feel like Raimi's Evil Dead, pretty much.
Aside from the references.
Yeah, exactly. So if it had more momentum to pull all those things together, it would have been much better. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. But
Kevin, how about you?
Like outside the rhythm, that blonde character obviously, and like some of the dialogue that's seen that it tried to be a bit too like dark humorous, like when Mia says something about my dick going off the bad boy or something like that. Yeah, I was just like
that's something in like every horror movie. It's like I kind of wish they would stop with.
I wasn't really feeling it for this film though because like that was the type of dark humor I would like obviously see in like another Evil Dead movie that would take on more serious but like have some comedic undertones. And I just thought this one didn't really use it though. I mean, I liked it as a whole and I really enjoyed watching it, so it'd be something I'd go back and rewatch. So I'd give it probably like a low 3 out of 4.
Mm-hmm. Actually, speaking of the dialogue, whatever rewrites Diablo Cody wrote were invisible. Basically she was only brought on because Fede Alvarez and the other writer, they can speak English, but English isn't their first language. Yeah. So she was basically brought in to just smooth out the Americanization of the dialogue, really. Yeah. There was like one moment where someone's dialogue rhymed, and I was like, is that her sneaking in like one of her bits? But it was fine apart from that.
Yeah.
I've had to think about this for a while because I keep going back and forth on this film. You know, there's a lot of stuff I really like.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff I really don't like. Because of the pacing, because of the references, because of certain things that took me out of the film, I've decided to settle on a 2 out of 4. Because I gave G.I. Joe a 1.5 out of 4, and I'm like, this doesn't deserve that.
This is certainly better than G.I. Joe.
I feel like this will be like a perfect Halloween movie when you got friends over.
We'll see. And the reason why it's a perfect Halloween movie is because, you get the Halloween party, everyone's drunk. It's the kind of party movie where it's like, it's like old B movies where it's like, they're usually really slow and they're not that good, but every now and then, every 5 or 10 minutes, there's an insane gore scene. They're like, oh shit! And it's that's what gets everybody's attention, and then they just go back to drinking and talking until the next, cool scene, pretty much. So, yeah.
Alright, we're going to take a quick sabbatical and come right back. Thanks for listening, and I do think we all have to say this is something you should see in the theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
And try to look for a time that will have the biggest crowd. Actually, one last thought, not to kind of end it on a more serious note, but this movie should not have been fucking rated R. This should have been NC-17. This should have been NC-17 all the way. The fact that this got an R rating is bullshit.
Well, the NPAA has been broken for...
I mean, but even more so than most, because, the thing is, I know this isn't the first cut they made. There is more blood that they had to cut out of the movie to get an R rating, so it's almost like the MPA were, numb to it.
I can't remember the last time a movie got rated wrongly like this, probably since Hannibal. Hannibal should have been NC-17.
Yeah, it should have. Well, most purely for violence, of course.
Yeah.
But it's movies like this where it's just absolutely nuts. It's not just blood. It's pretty disturbing violence too. And I don't know. It's just something I thought of. It was all right.